All right, so we have a little treat for you. So this is a coaching call from the Agency Owners Association. This is a group that Neil and I have for agency owners to help you grow faster. So if you're in the agency space, you are a services business, this is applicable to you. It's a little preview of a call. It's probably 10, 15 minutes or so, and you get a sense for what it looks like to be in the group. If you want to learn more about the group, you can go to marketingschool.io/agency. Again, it's marketingschool.io/agency. Hope you enjoyed the episode.
What's up, Eric? Are you back from traveling?
I am back from traveling. I'm back from Thailand, back from Japan.
Did you find your wife yet?
No, don't listen to Neil. Like it's I'm not single. So yeah.
I'm teasing you.
Yeah, but this will go on the podcast too, by the way. So
oh
yeah.
shoot. Okay, I'm
sorry. No, it's fine. No. No need to feel bad about it. But why don't we go ahead and get started here? So I'm gonna be on for the first 50-ish minutes or so, and then Austin will help kind of close it out with housekeeping stuff. But I just got off a call with Microsoft, and they're building like these new co-pilots, and then basically you can build your own agents and things like that, right? So they're in the very early stages of it, and it's pretty exciting stuff what's going on. And then we're kind of doing the same thing too. So go play around with that stuff. I think if there's any takeaway for me this week before we jump into questions, and you can start to ask your questions or drop it in the chat, is so I started using bolt.new. And I don't know if any of you have tried it, but it's like I've talked about Replit, I've talked about Cursor, but Bolt basically will allow you to kind of code up a front end app, and it's pretty quick. I know fix the errors too. So I had it code up an app for me saying, hey, why don't you create an app for me where I can upload audio or video files, or you can pull from a YouTube link and make 5 viral headlines and thumbnails based on the content itself. And it did that for me, right? And you can basically call it 60-70% there, and then you can have a developer kind of close it out for you. But I think this helps marketers now basically become pseudo developers. So bolt.new would be one, and then obviously Anthropic came out with computer use, and I think that's still a little early right now, where it's like an agent that will help you do research on, they'll help you click around, do research on like, nice restaurants you want to go to and things like that, right? And so I think that's still a little nascent, but if there's anything you should go play around with, it's bolt.new right now. And I'm trying to think if there's any other new developments on the AI side. Not really. And on the agency side, just an update. So I spoke with Neil, we were recording yesterday. So we're going to come in together on the 15th of November. So mark your calendars for that one. And other than that, Austin, what other housekeeping items do we have before we jump into the meat?
Yeah, we have a bunch of guest speakers coming in. So I think for the next 4 weeks, we're booked out on Wednesdays for guest speakers, whether that's a member spotlight or like an external guest speaker. We have the CEO of ConversionWise, Oliver Kenyon. We have, I haven't made the announcement yet, but we have another great CEO on agent profitability coming in and looking at efficiencies. So really excited about that. Rebecca gave the first member spotlight masterclass this week. So
nice job, Rebecca.
Hell yeah. Oh,
it was
big news.
It was a good experience for me too.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was very good.
We loved it. On that note, I'll touch it again at the end, but the lead process is changing because I want to help you guys close more deals. So make sure you put your capabilities deck or what you guys offer, some testimonials, some logos, make sure you send that over to me because I will send that to the prospect before we connect. So that's it.
Cool. All right, let's jump into the questions. Anybody have any questions or comments, or you can just raise your hand or drop it in the chat.
And Eric, we wanted to ask, is this call going to be used on the podcast, or will this be internal only?
This probably will be used on the podcast.
Okay. That is for everyone to know.
Yeah. Good job.
I definitely took advantage of the fact it was used on the podcast.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that post, Rebecca. Those always go a long way.
Yeah. We did all kinds of content generation with that. I was happy to stream off your name.
Awesome. Hey, happy to help. Happy to
no,
have
it's
you
nice.
as well.
Thank you.
Cool. All right. If no questions, see you guys later.
I have I have a share that
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Everyone might find interesting related to the AI stuff. Yesterday, I had a very interesting experience. So we have a case study that we've written and got approved with a client. It's a very important case study to us. It's one like a flagship client, and it's pretty in depth because it's like 5 years of work and probably a little longer case study than I typically would recommend putting on a website. But there's just a lot to say, and I want to make sure it's all there. And so anyways, I haven't had time to really get it up on the website and build the landing page and everything. And so I was just going to outsource it to a freelancer on Upwork. And I hired this guy to start building the landing page. And he started laying it out in Figma. And he took it upon himself to kind of condense the content into more, smaller chunks, as you would typically do for a landing page. But I didn't really want that, right? Besides the point, he did that. And what I found was like, he didn't really pull the most impactful pieces of the case study out, maybe because he just didn't really understand how to. That's not really his expertise. But it was definitely a miss in terms of like trying to condense our case study down into an impactful landing page. So I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to throw this case study into Claude and ask it to create a case study landing page with the expectation that it was just going to spit back out the copy. And it actually spit back a coded web page that was better than, in terms of the content itself and the layout, was better than what the freelancer gave me. and it did a better job of pulling out the impactful points of the case study than the freelancer did, which I thought was actually very incredible.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, happy it worked. I mean, speaking of case studies, by the way, Matt, I was speaking to Neil, we're just chatting on the phone a week ago, and we're just talking about what actually helps you win big deals at the end of the day. And really it's, so Claude, yeah, it's if you guys search for Claude.ai or just type in Claude.ai, that's how you spell it. But, so here's how you win more deals. It's very simple. One, when you get on the call, it's actually the A team, right? In this case, the A team's it's probably you being on the call as one, and maybe like the people that are actually working on it. And then the key thing is you tell them that they're not going to get the B team, right? The last thing they want to hear is that they're getting the B team, right? And some of you can attest to that. So one is getting the A team on the call, or like the team that's going to work with them. The second thing is making sure that you not only have case studies, to Matt's point on case studies, they're very important, but you need to have relevant case studies. So for example, today I was, or earlier this week, I was talking to an M&A sourcer, and she kind of went through her work, and then she showed 5 deals that she sourced. And then she went through the relevant testimonials and case studies, and she showed numbers and things like that. All of the case studies were relevant to me because I'm just looking for deals at the end of the day. And there's one thing to say, oh, I like, you talk to a mid-market company, but then you show a case study with Uber and you show a case study with Amazon. One, it doesn't relate to them that much. And then two, it makes them feel smaller too, right? So you got to keep in mind whenever you're showing this stuff to people that it makes them feel good and it makes them feel more confident at the end of the day. Because oftentimes you're working with people, some you might be the founders, right? But a lot of times you're working with people that are employees of the company, and they just need to make sure that they're de-risking, because they're next on the line, right? Because they don't want to look bad at the end of the day. So thank you for that, Matt. And then I guess we'll go to Kevin. All right. So I wanted to take a second to tell you about the Agency Owners Association. So this is a agency peer group ran by my podcast co-host Neil Patel and myself, Eric Siu. And these were 9- and 8-figure agency owners respectively. And what I will say is, at the end of the day, you want to learn from people that have been there, done that. If you want to grow your agency to 7 figures, 8 figures, and beyond, this is the group for you. And we bring in other agency owners to speak as well. And it's a great peer group where you can help each other out. And you're going to learn how to acquire more clients. You're going to learn how to take yourself out of the day-to-day and to build the business of your dreams. And the cool thing, till November 30th, we are holding a special price, and you can apply at marketingschool.io/agency. And the great thing about it as well, if you try to get into group, there's a 7-day free trial, right? So once November 30th hits, we're going to increase the price by $200 per month. So right now you're getting it at the lowest price possible. So go to marketingschool.io/agency to learn more, and we'll see you inside.
Hey, couple things, kind of a statement and a question. I was really inspired by something you said in previous meetings that we've had about writing memos to the employees. We're growing. We're about 10 people now. And as you're going from like 3, 4, 5 people to 10 people, it's hard to keep everybody aligned and kind of focused and everything. And I've been struggling with that. And so I've been writing memos, kind of inspired by your input. That's really been impactful for our company. And out of that, I wrote a standards of excellence too, that you had mentioned. And I just wanted to mention that to the other agency owners. This is all the stuff I've been preaching, and I kind of say, don't you remember I told you that in the meeting? And I kind of always repeating myself. I feel I was able to consolidate all that into a document for new employees as well as our team. Everybody signs off on it. I love that you brought that up as well, and that's been really creating really good glue amongst the team. And like we talk about not finger pointing, but finding a way forward. Things like that. So anyways, I just wanted to mention that something you said is translated into something that's being executed, and it's really working well for the company. And as we grow, I'm excited to have these things in place.
Cool. Kevin, and so
yeah.
you mentioned that you did a standards of excellence, document. What other memos have you written? And yeah, maybe they'll give some examples for people.
Yeah. The first one I wrote was just more of, it was kind of a precursor to the standards of excellence, just like our values towards our customers. Here's our values and how do they really relate to our customers? Excellence, diligence, authenticity. And so, how do we apply those from a visionary or CEO's perspective? And so I think that everybody had their own perspective or box, the way to look at our values, if you will, but it was kind of an explanation there. That was the first one. As we got into it, I just talked it's almost like a newsletter. The second one was 2 topics. One was kind of just acknowledging mental health. I'm a bull in a china shop. My former military. I'm just like, I plow through everything. So I come from the 80s, 90s where we didn't have feelings, kind of thing. I think we live in a world where, honestly, like I think you called it the American worker, and I'm all about it, So when you said that,
hey,
I knew exactly
I'm American, by the way.
I am proud American, serve my country, but they got to pick it up, But anyways, long story short, I wrote about that work ethic, but also to acknowledge mental health is a thing, kind of thing. And I wanted to talk about how we can do it. So one of the ideas I came up with was everybody gets their own emoji that is kind of a red flag or a signal to the team without saying, I need mental health help, kind of thing, that I'm struggling, kind of thing. And afterwards, we kind of have this thing in our Slack channel where people can put ideas and things that we can implement in the company. And everybody was commenting on how that just really made them feel acknowledged, or like there's a way to discuss it. I'm a very flat organization. I don't have like an HR manager. I don't have a lot of managers. We're all about extreme ownership. So it just allowed everybody to have a way to communicate if they need help. And so we've already seen that happening, and we do have a couple of team members that are like moms, amongst the guys. And so they kind of stepped up and, made the first step, like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? Things like that. And it's really made a difference. So I didn't want to say that in a meeting originally. I wanted to be able to write it in a way that's coming like a memo. So that's just a really new way for us to communicate. The other thing I talked about in that particular memo was the idea of, the client is always right is not a thing. I wanted to state to my team that I will fire a client before I fire you if you're doing the right thing. Because sometimes clients can be micromanagers or cause poison on our team because of just who they are and how they are. And so I recently fired a client. Another one, I gave them an asshole tax that I got from you. I never heard of that before. but I just raised our prices and they paid it. You know, I called him on his bullshit. So I'm sorry, I forgot it's going on the podcast.
No, that's fine.
So yeah, those were some things that we've been implementing, and it's just I'm a talker, so I'll talk about it, but I think 10% of that goes to our employees. When it's written, I think it's much more impactful. They can absorb it, read it, reread it, you know, that kind of stuff to give you feedback.
I would say, Kevin, that all sounds great. And I think that the thing is, with writing the memo, you're still going to have to, and you're probably doing it already, you're still going to have to repeat things over and over, because not everyone reads it. You're still the chief reminder officer, right? You're like that annoying parent that's constantly, like, when you feel like you're being annoying, you're probably saying it enough. If you're not, then you're probably not saying it enough, type of thing. All right, quick note. This is about my company. It's called Single Grain, and Single Grain is an ad agency where we're focused on driving innovation. I want to talk about a couple of new strategies, and if you need help with marketing, great. If not, here are a couple of new strategies that you should try out. One is programmatic CRO. So we are doing programmatic conversion rate optimization on our site. So it's building products that will automatically optimize your site to increase conversion rates. We're also auto-optimizing, auto-updating from an SEO standpoint, and we're constantly thinking about what else we can do in terms of enriching the visitors that are hitting your website, and also tailoring custom messages for them using AI. And so there's a handful of things that we're doing from a marketing standpoint, and our mission is just to drive more innovation. So if you want to learn more, just go to singlegrain.com, grain like rice. So singlegrain.com to learn more, and we'll see you inside. It's great. The book I recommend that everyone checks out, if you haven't already, is Working Backwards, and that's written by a former Amazon chief of staff and the guy that was on the Kindle team. And it just talks about their memo culture. It talks about the concept of hiring. When you're hiring, you have bar raisers that help with the hiring process. And everyone here, I mean, our people are a product at the end of the day. So I don't think we can afford to compromise on it. In fact, like, that's why I'm a lot closer to the hiring process now than I have been before, and it's paid off in spades. So that's another thing. But the book is called Working Backwards. Go pick it up. I mean, it's well worth the $10 or $20. But thank you for that, Kevin. And Adam, let's go to you.
I have one quick question though. Sorry,
go
if
ahead.
I could throw it in there. Sorry about it. You'd mentioned with I listened to your podcast with Seth. Great job. I love Seth. He's a great, icon for me as a marketing leader. You'd mentioned the book Linchpin.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't, that you give it to all your employees. So I was using the context of the memos and things like that to maybe just share with us why you give that to your employees. I'm not familiar with the book.
Yeah. Yeah. Great question. So the reason we give Seth Godin's book Linchpin to all the employees is I remember reading that book when I was about 22 years old or so. And I would download all these audiobooks illegally and put them onto a CD, and there's no Audible back then. And so I remember listening to Linchpin, and basically I actually think I read the actual book, but it's basically, the concept is, you don't want to be, every company eventually becomes a machine, and you don't want to be a cog in a machine, because a cog in a machine doesn't really get acknowledged at the end of the day. And you're just kind of getting by. Ideally, you want to be a linchpin, someone that stands out. And those are the ones that really reap the rewards at the end of the day. So at the time, I was just trying to figure out how to be a good employee. And if you be a good employee, you perform, then eventually you get to kind of continue to rise up the ranks and hopefully start your own thing. And that's always been my thing. It's like, I just want to leave you better off than when you first came in. And having someone read a book, and we can't overload them with too many books during the honeymoon period. During the honeymoon period, you can get them to do a couple of things, and then it wears off very quickly. So for me, it's trying to get people to go through that story, because people remember stories, because there's a lot of stories in there, and understand that, hey, this is what someone high level looks like. And then we have them read another book called The Ideal Team Player, and that basically just it's a fable, right, by Patrick Lencioni, and he writes a lot of good business fables, and he talks about how, basically the concept is you want to have people that are humble, hungry, and smart, and nothing else matters, right? Warren Buffett over here talks about, you want to work with people that have integrity, intelligence, and energy, right? But if they don't have integrity, the other two don't matter. It's the same thing: humble, hungry, smart. So I think those two things, I just wanted them to read these stories so they'll remember them. And it doesn't always carry over, but at least they know we've kind of set the tone. So does that answer your question, Kevin?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Cool.